Learning Spanish for Beginners podcast, session 23. How to know if a word is masculine or feminine in Spanish. Welcome to a new session of Learning Spanish for Beginners podcast. In this session, we will learn to understand the gender of nouns in Spanish. By the way, if you would like to access a free guide with the conjugations of the 10 verbs most commonly used in conversational Spanish, you can go to SpanishForYourJob.com/top-verbs. This guide will help you learn the 10 most common verbs in spoken Spanish so you can improve your Spanish faster. Remember, you can find it at SpanishForYourJob.com/top-verbs. Okay, let's get started. How to know if a word is masculine or feminine in Spanish. Let's start by answering the question, what is a noun? According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, a noun is defined as a word that is the name of something, such as a person, animal, place, thing, quality, idea, or action. In Spanish, nouns are either masculine or feminine, and this mental shift is one of the most challenging aspects for English speakers who are learning Spanish. Although in English there is no need to think about whether a pencil is a masculine or a feminine noun, it is essential in Spanish because the adjectives and articles of a sentence must match the gender and number of nouns. Here are a few examples. The table is expensive. La mesa es cara. Mesa is a feminine and singular noun. And the word expensive, cara, is also feminine and singular in this sentence. Next example. The dogs are pretty. Los perros son bonitos. The noun perros is a masculine and plural noun. And the adjective bonitos, which means pretty, is also a plural noun, as well as a masculine version of that. Next one. The food is ready. La comida está lista. The noun comida is a feminine and singular noun. And the adjective lista, which means ready, is also feminine and singular. But how do you know if a noun is masculine or feminine? Although this topic often needs to be clarified for beginners who try to guess if an object seems masculine or feminine, by the way, avoid this, it doesn't work. We will review a few general guidelines that will make it easier to know if a noun is masculine or feminine. However, don't worry too much about memorizing these guidelines or saying everything correctly and perfect from the start. Just acknowledge them so you can understand sentences in Spanish that include a masculine or a feminine noun. General guideline for masculine nouns. Most nouns that end in O, E, an accented vowel, or ma, ma, as well as those that end with consonants except the letters D, as in dolphin, Z, as in zebra, or Sion, C-I-O-N, the O with an accent, are generally masculine nouns. Here are a few common examples. Masculine nouns that end in O. The teacher, el maestro. The cat, el gato. The friend, el amigo. Now, a few masculine nouns that end in the letter E. The man, el hombre. The perfume, el perfume. The shoe, el zapato. Now, a few masculine nouns that end in an accented vowel. The coffee, el café. The dad, el papá. The bamboo, el bambú. And here are a few masculine nouns that end in ma or ma. The problem, el problema. The program, el programa. The language, el idioma. And here are a few words that end in consonants that are not D, Z, or sion. The sun, el sol. The truck, el camión. The tree, el árbol. However, there are some exceptions that need to be memorized. They will come naturally with practice, so don't worry too much about them. Here are a few of the most common ones. Feminine nouns that end with O, common exceptions. The photo, la foto. This is because this la foto is a short version of la fotografía, which is the full word. Next one. The hand, la mano. The radio, la radio. Now, a few feminine nouns that end with E, which are exceptions. The street, la calle. The meat, la carne. The phrase, la frase. The people, la gente. The night, la noche. The cloud, la nube. The afternoon, la tarde. The mother, la madre. The class, la clase. The key, la llave. And here are a few other common exceptions. The mom, la mamá. The honey, la miel. The salt, la sal. The skin, la piel. The flower, la flor. Now, let's review a few guidelines for feminine nouns. Most nouns that end in A, D as in dolphin, Z as in zebra, or sion, C-I-O-N, O with an accent, are generally feminine nouns. Here are a few common examples that follow this guideline. Feminine nouns that end in A. The house, la casa. The friend, la amiga. The table, la mesa. Here are a few feminine nouns that end in the letter D, as in dolphin. The truth, la verdad. Thirst, la sed. Health, la salud. Here are a few feminine nouns that end in Z, as in zebra. Nose, la nariz. Light, la luz. Childhood, la niñez. And here are a few feminine nouns that end in sion, C-I-O-N, O with an accent. The song, la canción. The imitation, la imitación. The legislation, la legislación. And finally, here are a few common exceptions that need to be memorized. First, a few masculine nouns that end with A, which are exceptions. Water, el agua. Map, el mapa. Day, el día. Next, a few masculine nouns that end with the letter D, as in dolphin, which are exceptions. Guest, el huésped. Record, el récord. Lawn, as in mow the lawn. El césped. Finally, a few masculine nouns that end with the letter Z, as in zebra. Rice, el arroz. Fish, el pez. Pencil, el lápiz. Corn, el maíz. In this session, we have reviewed a few simple guidelines for using masculine and feminine nouns. By the way, if you would like to access a free guide with the conjugation of the 10 verbs most commonly used in conversational Spanish, you can go to SpanishForYourJob.com/topverbs. Also, if you would like to review a text version of these contents, you can access a transcript of this session at learningspanishforbeginners.com/23. Thanks for listening to Learning Spanish for Beginners podcast. If you're enjoying this podcast, please leave a review and share it with one friend who also wants to learn more Spanish. See you next time. Hasta la próxima.